Hello, sweet souls. Greetings. Welcome to Cosmic Truth Oneness, illuminating your true essence. The Cosmic Truth Conference is gathering a unique panel of New Earth luminaries who will share deep, compassionate, transformational, unifying wisdom. We are invited to illuminate our true essential selves, open our hearts, come together in oneness, raising our vibration as a species, together birthing the new golden earth. Thank you for being here with us. I am Annelise Asharia, host, and I'm so excited to welcome our guest, Gayle Thomas. Greetings, Gayles. Hi.
Hi, Annalise. Thank you so much for finding me and entertaining my words today.
Lovely. So let me share your bio so that everyone gets to know you. So Gayle Thomas, PhD, is a channel to the Andromedan collective consciousness Tarp, author of their channeled text, The Book of Tarp, teacher and healer. She offers one-on-one communication with Tarp worldwide, and she is the creator of courses in Astral Hygiene and channeling training. Her recent channel book, The Book of Tarp, serves as a practical guide for individuals seeking to attune with their higher selves and channel their own guides and supernatural energy into physical life. With a multidisciplinary and holistic perspective, her mission is to guide individuals on their unique journeys of self-discovery and awakening. Holding a master's and PhD in metaphysical science and a bachelor's degree in psychology, Gayle connected and attuned to Tarp, following a Christ encounter during her natural and alternative healing experience with breast cancer. This journey, along with her extensive work with clients worldwide, lends authenticity and depth to her teachings, often described as life-changing. Based in London, Gayle lives with her family. As a futurist, Gayle aims to promote the conscious evolution of divine human awareness. You can find Gayle on her website, gaylthomas.com. So, Gayle, in our conversation today, we'll deep dive into your topic, which is the everyday occurrence of channeling. So, to begin, could you start by sharing, well, what do you mean by the everyday occurrence of channeling?
Okay, so thank you for that wordy introduction. That was really kind of you to say all of that, and I do my best. Sometimes it sounds like when I hear an introduction, oh, am I living up to the words? But thank you so much. So the everyday occurrence of channeling, these are originally Tarp's words, and I decided to make this chat with you today about one of the chapters in the book of Tarp. They speak a lot about channeling, and they are particularly frequential in talking about our natural ability to channel. So this talk today, the everyday occurrence of channeling, is really about our human capacity, our natural ability as humans to bring the divine non-physical energy, the divine unique energy that runs through us into the physical world, and really to impart or to get across to everyone that we are natural transducers of this magical energy into physical. We are physical avatars of the whole real eternalness of ourselves. The physical avatars are here specifically to channel this energy, to act as transducers into the physical world. So we cannot live without being channels. We would not be human without this understanding of this mechanism that we're bringing through energy, through our intellect, through our physical body, through our limbs of action, through our organs of action. It is not possible. We would not be here if we were not channels. And I would like everybody to understand that. Tarp would like everybody to understand that. So we can live in awareness, acknowledge what we are, run and flow with what we are, be empowered by this knowledge, know it and start living this way with the confidence of what you are, that this physical body is not just a physical body to just be a blob. It's actually here to transduce and bring through all of the inspiration and the ideas into physical. And we have the brain and we have the body to make it act. We have the brain to enable and to make all the calculations of how you function in the physical world. And you have the body. So you have the physical equipment, the computer, if you like, the processor that translates the energy, this energy transfer into life. And that's really what this chat hopefully can be about. The everyday, normal, supernatural ability to channel.
Wow, yes, it's very empowering when you see it. It's like, yeah, yes, it's right. And it's right. I mean, we are not enough aware of this, obviously. So it's wonderful to have this message. Thank you for conveying it. And Gayle, you also talk about how the human consciousness is often compartmentalized. So how can integrating our consciousness help us experience more of those transdimensional interactions with ourselves, our higher selves, and others, other beings? Or this channeling in our daily lives?
Yeah, so we just touched on the physicalness of our equipment, and we spoke about the brain or our mind as being the equipment to calculate and manage the physical world. Now, it's learned, it's adapted, it's evolved to help us survive. So it has had to make, had to be able to discern, to filter, to choose what is right and wrong, safe or dangerous. So it has natural compartments in it, which means that it filters vast amount of information out in order to help us stay alive in the physical world. And now we feel in general, I would say, as a collective, the ones of us that are feeling quite spiritual and aware and awakening, that maybe we've evolved a little bit and we can overcome some of these instincts that our bodies tells us to be scared of or hold back from, that we can begin to integrate some of the things that maybe, they do serve us on a certain survival level, but we can override for other aspects of learning to evolve our consciousness. When I say the word override, I'm talking about learn to integrate aspects within our mind that we keep compartmentalized, that we suppress or we push down into our subconscious, or we invalidate in some shape or form, and learn to integrate all parts of the mind so we can perceive more fluidly. Because on a whole level, we are actually experiencing trans-dimensional, multi-dimensional phenomena and consciousness. We are of that already. It's just that we tend to forget and feel like we're an individual human in this world. And with that individual humanness comes the mind with the ego, which makes us feel separate. And it makes us feel separate by compartmentalizing us or creating separations from not just the world and the other people around us, but through things that come in. So there is stuff that comes in that we are simply not acknowledging on a mind level. The whole of us, the whole body of us, and the non-physical aspect of us will be reading and understanding. But the mind level, which is what we use on a day-to-day basis, is simply not picking up on all of that, creating this idea that we're not multidimensional beings, that we're linear beings, and things like channeling or telepathy or feeling beyond the five senses are not a normal everyday thing. However, I feel we can learn to overcome this by integrating aspects of our mind, by learning to shine a light on the things that we tend to repress, our subconscious things, our fears that we know about, like I'm scared of spiders, for example, and things that we're not so aware about, ancestral things in our collective consciousness, things that we embody in our energetic body or our subconscious mind. But we can begin to try and work through these things, work through our fears, work through what we perceive as differences, and learn to distinguish the differences that help us to survive physically and the differences that aren't really serving us in terms of higher consciousness exploration. So we can learn to feel more integrated, and learn to perceive more wider phenomena, so we can have more engagement with a wider field of information, so we can be more in touch with the phenomena that is coming through all the time, and listen to the cues, listen to the inspirations, start to feel a direct relationship between it coming in and acting on it in the physical world with our physical body equipment. And this is channeling, and I feel that if we can learn to do this more fluidly, more knowingly, that that's what we're here to do, we'll have more success in life. You know, embracing and revering creativity, revering imagination, using it, capitalizing on it to bring our unique value into the world, and understand the value, the self-worth, the uniqueness of that energy coming through, say, your particular body versus my particular body and DNA. Everyone's got a unique expression of a universal energy, or a stream of consciousness, but everyone's got their own unique way. But that is what channeling into physical form, through the physical identity and the ego and all of the stuff that comes with you being Annalise and me being Gayle. We have our unique expressions to do and our unique star to follow, our unique path to make in life, and that's what's wonderful.
Yes, when you were mentioning this, the word oneness came to me, because it's what it is. It's this integration of whole dimensions, and you speak more. Maybe you use the word harmony for this, because it leads to this question that can you explain what it means to live in harmony with both those dimensions, physical dimension of ourselves and non-physical of that dimension of ourselves, both at an individual level, as you were mentioning, but also at the collective level?
Yes, it's about learning to see you in the face of others, and learning to understand that your face and the other's face is actually, they're both faces of God, or they're both faces of the same source, just from different perspectives. And it might be easier said than done in real life right now, today, when we go out on the street and we go into the supermarket, but that actually is, according to Tarp, quite key to lessen the differences in what you see. Okay, so we need the differences in a sense for our mind to keep us safe physically. So there's knowing what aspects of difference to use for survival, for physical survival. So you know not to walk off a bridge, for example, or a cliff, walk off a cliff. But knowing where to let go of those kind of concepts for higher mind development, for a more evolved approach to life, being a human using their full potential. So being a human using their full potential, I believe, is to then know when to let go of differences, and recognize the oneness and this constant stream of energy, which is divine, uniquely for humans, not just for humans, but we have a divine energy running through us. It is a unique energy from human to human, as in it comes through a different set of equipment, but that it is there. And that's exactly why we're here, to interpret that energy in fun avatar bodies. It's almost kind of gamifying the idea of life, and quite ironic that it took a kind of concept of gaming to understand real life for real humans in the real world, that it is supposed to be light, it is supposed to be this energy transfer, and it is supposed to be fun with this avatar temporary identity.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that's again, it brings this energy of empowerment, which I really well resonate with, of course, because maybe it's the key also to the next step for us. And actually, another step maybe is imagination. You just mentioned this because you see imagination as a divine gateway between all ourselves. And so, how can people use their imagination to connect to this higher, wider consciousness of themselves, and also the wider consciousness source, and enhance their daily lives as a human?
Yes, so this is something that Tarp speak about often, and they talk about the way the mind is compartmentalized and how the mind speaks a different language to the language of what the body understands or wider consciousness understands, because the mind doesn't necessarily understand the language of vibration. Your emotional system does, and that's your feedback system to vibration, or you're interfacing with vibration, that you have feelings about things, or you have instincts, you have a bodily reaction to things, a chemical reaction. But the mind is sometimes so dense in its thinking that it just doesn't get through. It speaks a different language. It speaks the language of words, and it speaks a language of language, whichever your language is, but it's a different language. And it's learning to use a common language that wider consciousness or wider phenomena or a wider field of information can communicate with you, and you can recognize and you can understand. That is there on a certain level, apart from your emotional system. That is there in the form of imagination. And so Tarp speak about imagination as a divine gateway, because it is the way that a wider field of energy, or your flow, your divine flow of non-physical energy, can get through to you. So denying imagination, or invalidating your imagination, or not playing with it, is not fully letting it flow through you. And imagination is going to give you images, information, or data. It's going to feed it through your intellect in bite-sized ways in which you can understand. And so the way it gives you information or data in bite-sized ways for you to understand will be in the form of um, images or archetypes, or shapes, sounds, words, things, snippets in dreams, inspirations. It comes through in sort of weird and wacky, it may come through in weird and wacky ways, but it is using what you have accumulated in your mind um, to give you recognizable forms. So
Mm.
it is a gateway, it is a communication vehicle for wider data to come into your intellect, to come through your physical equipment, your intellect. So um, imagination, Tarp say, should be embraced. It is a vehicle, it is a communication highway in which to channel inspirational or energy, or inspiration that's right from you, guidance from your higher self into your physical life. So creativity, therefore, is to be embraced. Inspirations, intuitions, ideas that just drop in, these things that just seem to drop in out of nowhere without the mind calculating or mentally trying to linearly work things out, which is also useful for operationalizing the inspirations and what you channel. But know that there's a kind of fusion within most aspects of the body, the brain, the left, the right side, the nervous system, the calculating, mental, linguistic, linear calculating side of the mind, and the imaginative side of the mind. They're all perfect partners, and it's just learning to use the two, and knowing what it's all there for. So embracing the imagination is the link and the key to your best life, to the best things that your higher self, or the higher wisdom of the energy of who you are, knows is right for you. And the keys come through imagination, and they give you feedback through your emotional system. But that is the complete guide to everything you could want, because if you just follow these cues which are coming in, even if they don't make linear sense or actual um, logical or congruent sense, just if you're acting on them, your mental mind will find a way to operationalize it, and the body will follow with the action.
Mm. Yes, yes. The body and the mind as a tool, as a conduit. I mean, yes, as the instrument. Yes, yes. That's wonderful. I'm taking this in actually because you mentioned also creativity, and creativity is what we are also here for on this planet, isn't it? To create, not in a material sense, but to create, because we create our world. In fact, it's to create also this beautiful world which is coming to life, isn't it?
Yes. And I wish I'd really understood that when I was growing up, because we tend to stifle or downplay our creativity, or put it down, or think that what we're coming out with, oh, we can't do that.
Mm.
Um, I mean, a personal thing is just with drawing or with art. You know, a lot of people get tied up with their creativity. They could be writing and it's not good enough. It's not as good as they want it to be. And so it just never gets off from
Mm.
square one, because people are thinking, oh, it has to be like this, or already worried what other people think about. But that creativity, just getting it out, is the journey,
Mm.
and is the key to these serendipitous things where you end up with something that looks quite good. So when you're creating something, it might start looking bad, and then if you stay with it, or you just completely do something random to it, or just follow just instincts and be light and playful with it, it can end up being something really wonderful. And I think that's the way a lot of successful artists work. um, and that's quite important, I feel, to creativity in life, because creativity, whether you're an artist or doing an artistic pursuit, or whether you're in business, or whether you're teaching, or whatever, or if you're healing, or whatever you're doing, whatever job, there's a certain amount of creativity, which is this confidence in your self-reliance, confidence in this flow of energy that comes through you, which actually is the magic that gives you value in this world. And when you know your value, you can earn more money, you can feel more abundant, you don't have to feel guilty or bad about it, because then you're actually producing something in this world that is needed or desired by your fellow brother and sister. So there's a natural relationship with understanding creativity, bringing it through your physical body, giving value to other people, whether that's just as a loving action to somebody else, or whether this is actually your vocation or your job or your career or your business, and owning your value, owning the wealth of that, knowing that the wealth is divinely channeled, and therefore if it's divinely channeled, it's divine answer to somebody else's desire, demand, or request. So everybody's fitting in and providing something in this world for somebody else that will be well received, actually, in the end, if you could get your doubting mind out of the way.
Mm.
And I often think of, going back to an artist, I often think of someone like Picasso, how when I talk about how difficult it can be for artists or anyone to learn how to be free and believe in their creativity, he first had to learn, in a sense, to paint like a master before he could really feel that confidence and let go with the creativity and come out with all the wonderful work that subsequently was the most part of his life's work. Very free and easy conceptual stuff, which some people would say, oh, it's kind of like kids' paintings, but it's not really. It took a whole evolution of consciousness and trust in his creativity to learn to paint with knowledge of everything, of how to paint like a master, to then let go and be creative and abstract and interpret the data coming in a light way and have the confidence with it. So um, I think it's a fascinating topic, and I think it's key to people feeling abundant and people knowing their worth, not just in real life, so they can understand their worth, but actually to operate in the marketplace and in the business world to understand value and return, um, without trying to get money for nothing, actually giving real authentic value in the world, and people needing that from others.
Yes, it's beautiful, this idea of a puzzle where each of us can match with somebody else. And you also describe healing as a form of channeling. Can you tell us more about this idea, and how can people use this for self-healing every day?
Yes, so this idea from Tarp is that if you can channel success into your life, if you can channel instincts, if you can channel what you want to be in life, then you can channel healing. You can channel the version of yourself that you want to be. You can channel the best version of yourself that you want to be. But the healing happens to the extent that you believe it is possible. So if you believe that healing is possible for you, then you will channel through the version, the manifestation, to the extent that you believe it. And of course, if you don't believe it is possible, you will be channeling through the version of what you believe into physical life. But healing, is a manifestation, is a form, a state of consciousness, not a state of consciousness, a state of manifestation that represents the consciousness that you are pulling through. And which means that you can facilitate that healing for somebody else, which is essentially what I'm doing and what healers are doing. They are facilitating the energy of healing that they can see for that person, and they are more connected with it because they have less resistance to the idea, and it's more free flowing for them to bring it through the facilitated, the manifested healing state for the other, sometimes than the person feels they can do for themselves. But it's absolutely possible and doable to channel your own healing, to channel the version of yourself that you want. And it doesn't necessarily need to be in a kind of poof, in a click of a finger, then all of a sudden someone's getting out of a wheelchair or something like that. But definitely in my personal case, I worked at it. I knew that I had to cultivate the feeling and speak to myself multidimensionally. That sounds more cryptic than it is, but I spoke to the cells of my body. I spoke to my higher self. I started to tell the cells of my body that I loved them, that I loved me, that I forgave me for things. That in and of itself isn't necessarily the whole entirety of what healing may be, but that can definitely work for someone. But channeling the idea of what it means to be well and channeling the version of yourself so it can appear, it's the same as channeling wealth. It is same as channeling your ideal relationship, or better relationships with the family, and so on and so forth. Healing is channeling, channeling is healing, inspiration is channeling, ideas, data. Healing is just data. The healed version of yourself is just data. It's all energy, it's all consciousness. And if the word healing is charged because you want it so much, just understand it as data. It's like, channeling happiness, or, channeling a good email or a picture. It's just data. And you're a transducer. So
Yes, it's beautiful. It's very, again, I have this word of empowering, because it feels like well, we are not controlled at like this world, but it feels like we are empowered with our own lives, our own state of being, our own state of being in a physical level and in a mental, emotional level. So it's just by opening up, as you were saying, opening up to this cosmic flow and this cosmic consciousness. It's beautiful. So actually, I think you also you are also an expert on what we would call astral hygiene and managing our energy. So to ensure we channel positive influences and to channel, well, positive mindset in general. So what would be practical tips for this?
For good astral hygiene, astral hygiene, a good astral hygiene, I would say, is having a good aura, astral hygiene, good energy around your body. Okay, because I get lots of people asking about, oh, what a bad energy is out there, and fear, and other people's fear is sticking to me, or my ex has got an attachment to me, or anything. People have lots of ideas about negative thought forms or entities and all this kind of stuff in this big world of talking about spiritual things and consciousness. So astral hygiene has become more of a concept, but really we're talking about having a good energy, a good flow of energy through you, a good energy field around you. And it's about creating a very large, healthy, coherent aura. It doesn't have to be large and open so you're sponging and absorbing everybody else's vibes around you, but ideally it would be large and coherent, robust, not absorbing everyone's. But we could start with a symmetrical and well sealed aura or field around you, staying away from negative influences, including things in the home, the diet, also things that upset the energy body, electrosmog, Wi-Fi, and phone towers, electrosmog, and a lot of buildings that we live in, they don't serve us. A lot of diet, a lot of the food we eat doesn't serve us energetically. Having good astral hygiene is also about spending time in nature, connecting with nature, grounding. It's about cultivating heart and brain coherence, meditating, cultivating the self-love and an inner silence, moving in graceful ways, speaking in graceful ways, as in not too disruptive ways, being smooth, keeping a kind of balance and symmetry in your life, infusing with balance the physical and non-physical parts of who you are. But astral hygiene involves a few components, but awareness to it is a good start. Awareness to your energy field, knowing how to move and how to operate in environments or groups of people that are charged with emotion, whether it's fear or negative speech. Learning how to not get charged by it, learning how to manage interactions and relationships without taking on board other people's stuff. That's good astral hygiene.
Yes, it's being autonomous and self-empowered again, I would say, because it's taking responsibility also for border setting. Boundaries setting.
Let's face it. There's a lot of talk about energy and consciousness and expanding energy and expanding our consciousness. But not much talk. It seems to be fairly glazed over when we talk about how to do this, or especially because I teach channeling training as well, how to do this in practical, real ways. Learning to channel, there's part of that is, learning to understand and acknowledge the divine energy that you're channeling, everything we've been speaking about today. And then there's the other part where people naturally want to make connection or make contact with something else, their guide, a celestial being, an ET, etc., etc. And then we're talking about interfacing with wider fields of consciousness or data that you're not used to interfacing with. And remember, you're probably coming at this from a compartmentalized mind. Some of it you're picking up, some of it you're not, some of it's sticking into your auric field or your body. Bringing awareness and understanding the language of astral hygiene, how to remove energy that you don't want, how to restore your energy, balance your energy, retrain, strengthen your energy, how to cleanse and release stuff, how to find that coherence. These are things that we could normalize this kind of conversation with these kind of words, this kind of conversation, especially as we're all talking about consciousness expansion. There's some hygiene there. We take care of our personal hygiene. We wash our clothes, we clean our homes, we go to the gym, or we do exercise. And there's a whole aspect to energy, which is not just like, yeah, let's just get a massive aura and let's just like astrally project and let's just go out into the world and peace and love. There are ways to take care of yourself. There are boundaries. There's ways to offer love to the world and look after yourself, like self-love. And self-love is actually universal love. But yeah.
Wonderful. So maybe speaking, and that's maybe the last question, on a general basis at the moment, in your perspective, where do you think we are on our collective journey of ascension and of this expansion of awareness?
I don't know exactly. Um, where do I think we are? Yeah, I think we are on a bumpy road. I don't think there's anything surprising in that statement. Um, I see so much willingness to move forward and to expand and to love and to accept. I see that. Ironically, also in the people that you see uh, that are coming across as divisive, I see the intention behind it all as people just wanting to do better, people trying their best. And all of these people with as many controversial viewpoints that you see in the public place or in the news and media, they all have their opinions that have been well formed considering their life path. They're genuinely doing the best that they can do and offering the best opinion and leadership from their perspective. So I see a lot of people trying really hard to make things better, actually, according to their ideologies, which are their ideologies formed from their most best informed life path that they have been living. I see a great deal of integration and understanding of concepts on wider and more abstract levels than I've seen in my life, and you know cracks showing in institutional ideas and paradigms that aren't serving us anymore, including our monetary system, our governments, medical system, many things. Um, so I see so much progress being made, despite the physically manifested stuff that we see. So I am really excited, really optimistic, um, aware that we could be on a bumpy ride, possibly for the rest of my physical life here. I'm not sure. That's what I mean when I say I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to see the fruits of all our consciousness in this lifetime. I hope, and I would tend to say yes, we are sooner rather than later. That my kids will see that. Um, it might be a decade or two. I think there might be pockets of more peaceful and stable and more higher vibratory worlds that we create, and then it might get roughed up again, and then but the bouts or the phases of good feeling and good consciousness will get longer and longer and more frequential and more consistent until it becomes a new norm. So I think we're going to see glimpses of that. I already see glimpses of it. Of course, everyone has their own version of life that they see, and I'm generally an optimistic person, so I do see that. I do see a lot of that, and I do see the bad stuff happening on the news as well. But I'm very excited and very optimistic about where we're heading, actually.
Yes, thank you. Well, maybe you would like to conclude with some final words of wisdom.
Oh, that doesn't really come from me. That comes from Tarp.
Okay.
No, I would just say, echoing the sentiments of Tarp, just become more and more aware of who you really are. If you can do that, then you can let it flow through you, And then if we're all naturally aware of who we are, then it kind of sorts everything out. It sorts everything out. So just taking that time to be present, to remember, okay, I'm a physical, non-physical being. We have a unity of awareness here. This is a physical avatar body in order to play in this world and to bring through into this life, you know, the wonderful divine energy that runs through us. Like, this is who we are. Okay, open my eyes again. Here's the wonderful game world that we're in. Let's have fun. Let's just be more creative, embrace it, not beat ourselves up about it. Let's just run with the inspiration. Sorry, that wasn't quick advice, but you know, that's why I like breathing exercises, because they tend to, just a few deeper breaths, they make you present. And then as soon as you've got that moment where you've expanded time and you feel that deep presence, you're like, yeah, I'm a non-physical being in an avatar body. I'm a transducer. I'm a very powerful participant in my life.
That's a wonderful conclusion. Very, very, I was about to say empowering again, because really that I feel that this message you really transmitted. So thank you to you, Gayle, and thank you to Tarp also, of course, for all this wisdom. You are offering a free gift to the audience. You are offering a free printable roadmap to channeling. So can you say a few words about this, please?
Oh yes, this is yeah, a printable roadmap to channeling. It's a very brief but very concise thing to just keep in mind, something to print out and put on your wall to look at every day, that reminds you who you are and of the kind of things you need to do, just to channel who you naturally are. It's your birthright and it's your innate flow of energy coming through you. So there are some pointers on a roadmap of things to keep in mind every day when you look at the map. And it's got some explanations on the back of it as well. But yeah, free roadmap to channeling.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again, Gayle, for being here with us. Thank you to the audience. I'm sure you received so much from this conversation with Gayle Thomas. So namaste, Gayle.
Thank you.
Thank you.